Hey, family. This is Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. 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 Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation Show. Y'all like that? Do y'all like that? Do y'all like that? Or do I have to do it again? I'm gonna do it again. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation Show. You like that? Now I might get somebody to write, make some music behind that, so I can come on. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland from the Couch Conversation Show. Hey, family. You know what? Uh, I'm trying to. I am trying my best to be here at 4 o'clock. Mondays, Wednesdays, Friday. I'm talking about on time, right? Because sometimes you just don't feel like it. And I thank God for right now, to be honest with y'all. I don't have a lot of other things that's like occupying my time during this time. So either way, the goal is to make time when 4 o'clock come around. Either way, unless it's extremely important, like if I have to be somewhere else and I can't come on by 4, right? That's why when y'all hear me say I need a broadcast network or team of people who can actually produce it for me, produce the shows for me. And if I'm not able to show up at 4, they can put something in the place of it, a recording, you know what I mean? Things like that. But anyway, I'm trying to, I guess, reschedule. I'm gonna say my titles basically, right? Because I don't mind if, like today, I might talk a little bit about men's mental health. You know what I mean? I might talk about the couch convers. I mean, not the couch. I'm sorry, because this is the couch. I might talk a little bit about parenting. You know, youth. So I'm thinking about the teen talk show. So I don't really have nothing set like in stone for my Mondays, Wednesday, Fridays anymore like I used to. So it's basically however the conversation go. Because I might, like I said, I might want to come up and might start talking about men's mental health. Now, anytime I open up my mouth, and I made this clear on another platform, anytime I open up my mouth, if you the type of person that likes to do research, statistics, studies, like from around the world or the country, stuff like that, do y'all realize where they get a lot of that information from? From other people's personal experience. I'm talking about even when you're dealing with scientists, even when you're dealing with professors or people with doctorate degrees, they had to study information that came from somewhere to be able to put it back out to y'all. So guess where a lot of it comes from? People personal experience like myself. As a recovering addict, a day at a time, for going on 33 years, I have sat down with plenty of people to help them get their paperwork in order, their thesis or whatever they had to write, their report, right? And guess what? Some of them themselves was recovering addicts. They just didn't have a lot of personal experience. They might have had, since, you know, they've been in recovery, they might have had 2-3 years in recovery, so they didn't really understand how to categorize that information for themselves. So they will call people with myself that has clean time to share my experience with them so they can break it down. Then you have somebody who came from the streets. I'm talking about that hustling lifestyle. So if you ever want to know, when a lot of people write books or they write studies on certain things, normally you have to interview people in order for you to write your, I'm trying to think what it's called for school, right? College and all that. Good example. When this thing happened in Baltimore City some months ago about the overdose, right? And what they did, it was poured into the community, if you ask me. Because we fought some years ago to get safe consumption sites here in Baltimore City. So when people that's using certain things that has that poison in it, you know, it's we did it when we could get a team together to bring them back so they wouldn't just be unalive. So that's just to show y'all, and I'm sorry for stuttering, but that's just to show y'all some of the work that some of us do to help decrease certain crises that's happening into the community. Now, mind you, I don't do stuff like this by myself. So I had to find organizations that actually fight for people's civil rights, equal rights, and constitutional rights. So a lot of y'all might not understand why I speak the way I speak. Then, as a Christian man, as an ordained deacon, if you look at me and you expect for me to be perfect, you better look back at yourself. Okay? Look at yourself. Because if you have perfected life, please teach me how. But I know as a human being, you'll never be without sin. As long as you're living in this flesh. You can lie to yourself. You can lie to your family. You can lie to your friends. You can lie to whoever you want. But I can tell you point blank, at 63 years old, I can tell you this now. A lot of stuff I used to do, I just don't do no more because I have grown. So a lot of stuff I did as a child, I don't practice today as a child. New stuff might try to pop up and I'll be like, oh, no. But the old stuff I'm used to, so I know when it's trying to resurface. So to basically get back, right? Because like I said, when I go, I basically talk a little bit about any and everything. I'll talk a little bit about any and everything. That's why you don't see no topics up there. Because I talk a little bit about any and everything as I go along. But to get back to basically what I was saying again, you know, as a person, and I'm going to go ahead, who life has turned around a day at a time for almost 33 years. I use, for a lot of y'all that might not understand, I have the working knowledge of the 12 steps, the 12 traditions, and the 12 concepts of NA. So if you don't understand a lot of times where I'm coming from, when you might say, what the heck is he talking about? Understand, being in a 12-step spiritual program, did you miss what I said? It's a spiritual journey. Being a religious man, being an ordained deacon, my relationship is not based just around the religious side or the traditional side. It started out in that way. Now my journey is more spiritual. Matter of fact, it started out that way. I was going to say it started out spiritual. But as a person that was taught, raised up Baptist, basically, right? It became spiritual. All right? It became spiritual. But I know Bible. That's not a problem. I know Bible and I read other spiritual material. or religious material. Okay, so you're not talking to some closed-minded dude right here. You're not. So anyway, from the religious sector to the spiritual side of things, and then if you hear me and you don't understand what I'm saying out my mouth, understand I'm basically sharing a recovery process. That's why a lot of y'all won't catch me. A lot of y'all lost. But if you dealing or you struggling with anything in life, because I sponsor men, I sponsor women, and not realizing at the point with my housing program, I sponsor them as well, which I didn't know until this lady just gave me a title. She said, Steve, you know who you is? As far as the stuff that I do, right? I'm like, no, I'm just you know, to me, I'm just a loving, caring person. I want the best for our people. And because I lived a certain way of life, I don't live that life no more. The goal is to help others come up out of that a day at a time and live a more productive way of life. So when she made that statement, I'm just looking at a person that loves Baltimore City and want to help his people. She said, you are a life coach. And it hit me. The stuff that I do is actually helping people to change the quality of their lives. And I've shared this over and over and over and over and over and over. And it doesn't matter how many times you heard this or you hear me say this, because people were sharing their stories with me over and over and over and over, that I knew it back and forth like them. But what that did, right, it sunk inside of me and helped me to gain a new way of thinking and living. That's what it did. It helped me, right? So it taught me how important it is to get to know you, relax, get to know you as a human being. Don't worry about nobody else. Get to know who you is. Get to learn to love you. Get to learn to appreciate you. Relax. Now you got relaxed up there, right? So then you should be the type of person that understand what peace is. You should understand, since you got relaxed there, the quality of life. And I'm talking about your life. What makes you happy? What makes you sad? Not nobody else. So if you don't know what it is to relax yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you don't need that name. But from your name, right? From your name, relax. That means you know how to basically relax the mind, relax the spirit, relax the spirit, relax the mind. You don't worry about nobody else and what they say. You don't speak out for a living like I do. Relax. You might have to change that name to contradiction. Yes. You teach people how to be more responsible and productive. Relax. Why would you carry a name if you can't teach people how to relax themselves? Why you're not going around in the community relaxed and helping people to better improve their lives? Because those are the comments you should be making right there. Relax. How to share with people how to improve their lives. Come on. I don't have to troll on nobody else's page and make little unseen comments. Know why? Because I come on my own live. This is my live, the Couch Conversation Show. Okay? And I started Relax, the teen talk show too. But to get back to what I was saying, basically based around, and I was talking about, you know, I got into the spiritual side, the religious side of stuff. And like I said, I'm not sure what I really wanted to talk about today, but I was thinking about mental health. Relax. You want to talk about mental health? Would you like to talk about post-traumatic slavery syndrome? Relax. And how to break that cycle, that mental cycle? Would you like to talk about that? Because you're very welcome. Because number one, if you don't know yourself, relax, then you won't know how to help somebody else learn to love them, or I'm sorry, I'm starting to stutter. To learn to love themselves or know themselves. But look, I'm just picking with you, relax. But that's where I'm at. Real simple. From a reformed, recovering addict, coming up on 33 years clean, a day at a time. In the community, I do not. People that's struggling, I do not. That don't make no sense. Blah, blah, blah. I do not do them like that. Because 9 times out of 10, and not just them, anybody that's struggling, now I'm going to go here, with life trauma. It could be something that happened in their childhood life that's causing them a bunch of pain and misery in life today, where they don't have no repeat. I mean, I'm trying to be sarcastic, relax. I'm trying to be sarcastic. Where they don't have no peace in their life today, right? And the whole goal, relax, is to help them to be able to relax themselves and gain some peace in life. Let me stop, because I'm being stupid now, relax. Because I love when people try to come and make little stupid remarks after me, right? And I know you don't do nothing I do to help people turn their lives around. 9 times out of 10, you're miserable when you come from me. And I'm a reframe that. 9 times out of 20, well, 10 times out of 20, if you come for Steve Copeland, I know you miserable as hell. And you don't like what I'm saying out my mouth. But understand this, when I talk about things, I can only talk about Steve and the experiences that I have went through in life and learned from. And if your balls aren't big enough for you to be honest about yourself, blame it on your little balls, not me. Because I got big balls. And it's not because I ain't had none in 6 years. But they might have got a little bit bigger though. But I got big balls. You want to call it ego, you want to call it pride, all that good stuff. Y'all look at it in a negative way. But when it comes to me helping people, right, turn the quality of their lives around, it doesn't matter. I can only share with you the stuff that I've been through. And that's the blessing of experiencing stuff in life, letting yourself fall and being able to stand back up and stand tall. Because in that process of standing up and standing tall, I can sit here and listen to you. And if I have experienced what you're going through, I can actually share with you how to step up out of that. That's the solution to the problem. A lot of us don't have solutions, but we know how to talk about the problem. And a lot of times we stay stuck in the problem. That's why you always find people doing this. They're so good at talking. But when you listen to Steve Copeland, if you're struggling somewhere in your life, and I'm going to just say this, right, because this popped up in my head just now. If you're in a relationship and you're in a mentally, emotionally, and verbally abusive relationship that will tear your spirit apart, it will tear you down. If you're in a physical relationship, you get it? Because you know I got to watch certain things for TikTok wise. But if you're in a physical one, right? I don't know. I don't think I heard that sexist something of Nancy Wheeler. I don't think I might have heard it, but I probably didn't pay a lot of attention. But if you're in a physical relationship, right? Either way, you have to work on moving away. Because if that individual is not willing to change their behaviors towards you, then you have to make a choice. And one thing I know personally, when you really love and care for that individual, and you know they have good qualities, but now you seeing another side, it's still the same person. You just seeing that other side. But if it's an unhealthy type situation, you got to dig deep in here and muster up that courage and the confidence to walk away and stay away. Because it was times where I would leave the house, pack my stuff and leave. A week or two and I'm back. It was times where I would leave again. A month or so I might have came back and stayed. But I left again. And it was times where it got to the point when I did leave, I never went back. Because I had to muster it up in me. I deserve better than that. I'm a better man than what anybody try to tell me I'm not. But I had to believe it. You get me? I had to gain the mustard and the courage. I can't sit here and tell you, oh, just walk away or oh, just leave. That sounds good. And it sounds simple. And some people probably can do that without, going through a lot. I admire that. Do not get it wrong. Some people be like, I ain't taking this bull crap. And they go. I admire that when you have the strength and the courage just to go. But some of us had to do the necessary work to get out and stay out. So anybody that's basically struggling with something, right? And if I talk with them like one-on-one, we might talk right here. And if you message me, we'll share numbers. Then I can help encourage you and motivate you to move on. But I know it's still going to take time because you don't really want to leave. Mainly, check it out, if you don't have nowhere to go. And then you got children. So if you make the decision to leave and y'all just telling people to leave, you need to find out what area of, I was getting ready to say the city, the country they in, right? It could be Florida. It could be Chicago. It could be Detroit. It could be Pennsylvania. You want to find out where they at. Then you want to reach out to some of them local housing programs there. See, y'all don't do that. Because when a person don't have nowhere to go, and then they got children, that's why they tend to stay in unhealthy relationships. But once they know somebody there to support them, encourage them, and walk them out of it. But you got to push them towards programs, not push them. I mean push them. I apologize for that word. It's still encouraging. You get me? Because no matter what, you want to empower them. You want to encourage them. You want to motivate them. You want them to understand that they are better than whatever their situation is or the crisis that they're dealing with. So basically, you working here and you working with this right here, the mental state, the emotional state. You empower them. You strengthen them. Yeah, I'm better than anything this person can say or do to me. I deserve better. See, a lot of y'all don't know how to do that, but you want to sit back and you want to talk. But what you do, and I'm just saying, if you have personal experience in your life with being in a situation like that, number one, always remember, when that individual love that other person, no matter how they treat them, they just want the best from them. But now they're not at the point that they can continue giving it. So now, should they stay there and continue taking the abuse? Not me. Not me. And that's not to say the people is bad. It's just some people have issues that they never addressed before they came into your life. And my thing is, if you know you have baggage from childhood, relationships, daddy problems, mommy problems, uncle problems, cousin problem, this problem, that problem that affected your life. Don't bring those problems into your new relationship. I tried fixing somebody, it didn't work. It did not work. I tried to fix them. That's why when I hear people talk about, right, stealing people independence, if you're going to love a person, love them for who they are. Why are you going to change them? Why are you going to try to change them? I just couldn't deal with that other side. Beautiful person. But it was just that other side I couldn't tolerate. So I ran like a chicken with his head cut off. Now, would I suggest everybody else to do that? Not in that sense, because I was married. Okay? And I didn't continue working on that marriage. I was tired. I was tired. Now, the point is with that one, I got more goddamn peace in my life than I had in the longest time. That's all you need to know. More than anything else, the peace that I had in my life. That I had in my life. That's what you need to understand. Y'all sit up here, right? And people go through certain things and you might say, oh, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't take that. When you in it, sometimes you don't realize it's really as bad as it appears, but it's bad because you're trying to justify it to make it right. Now, I'm not going to say we're not going to have disagreements. I'm not going to say we're not going to have arguments from time to time. I'm looking at myself now. What am I going to be doing when we might have to argue and have disagreements at 63 years old? Because if you come in and being the businessman that I am and you tell me I spend too much time with my business, that's my business. Now, I'm going to balance stuff out. But if you start pointing out what I'm doing to grow or to continue growing, like that's a problem. Then another thing, I have a housing program where I help women and children. So I'm basically around women and women with children. I'm around men too, husband and wife, stuff like that. But I basically work with women and children. I don't need you calling my phone every 5 minutes. Anybody getting fresh with you? Anybody this and that? Bye. You're not going to do that to me. You're not. I might be called to go into a community to do an event. I don't need you to tell me cancel my event. And you knew ahead of time what I had to do on the 25th of November. And all of a sudden you want me to cut something out I was invited to go do or something that I had planned? No. You schedule for another time. A person, and I'm speaking about my mate or my wife basically, right? When we talk, when we communicate, and we set schedules, right, to do events and stuff like that, you normally set stuff ahead of time. That's why communication is very important. But when you do stuff at the last minute, that's where a lot of chaos and confusion come in at. Because now here it is Monday. And you're going to turn around and say, oh, Tuesday, Steve, we got a such and such and such. And you know I'm going to look at you like you dumb. And you don't even know what my schedule might be. But all of a sudden now you're going to pop something at me at the last minute. You go by yourself. And I'm going to tell you this. My children and my wife, my exes, know that you got to let me know stuff ahead of time. And anybody that knows me knows don't call him before 11 o'clock in the morning or 12. They'll tell you, don't call him before 12 because he's not going to answer. People that knows me will tell you. I'm telling you me. Do you think I'm going to change it for you? Now, I don't work. I retired from trucking. It'll be 6 years in January. I had started my LLC before. So now it gave me more time to actually spend in the business and the projects that I've been visioned, that God gave me a vision on working on. So this is where I'm at today. I don't want you come in my life and all of a sudden now you want to change what God called me to do. No, it's not going to work. It's not. Because I know what he laid on my heart and what he laid on my spirit, what he called me to go do. And if you come in and if you start trying to redirect that, be honest with you, I'm going to think you the enemy. I am. It's if I tell you God laid on my heart, laid on my spirit, called me to go back into the community, right? To help build, to help rehab and revitalize houses, to open up 4 multi-purpose centers for inner city youth, right? And these things that he laid on me is I'm in the process of talking with people so we can get it done. At one point, I was this close to doing certain things. But people come in, and those are trial and errors. Don't get it wrong. They come in for a certain time to help you understand certain things, and then they're gone. Because they wasn't meant to be there but so long. So you have to learn from it. All right, so the next time I know what to watch out for. And the next, you know, when you meet more people like that, I'm talking about like-minded business people. You know what to carry into the next. Then you might get with some, their hearts are right, their minds seem to be good, and y'all on that path, and next thing you know, they're gone. But what did you learn from that? Because what I do, no matter how it works with us or not, I'm not going to stop doing what God called me to do. Real simple. You might have just jumped on the bandwagon to see what you can gain from it. I see a lot of that. But don't come in and try to divert me from what the Holy Spirit told me to do. Because if it's not lined up with the Spirit told me to do, I'm not going to keep you right here. If I feel like you're trying to divert me from what the Holy Spirit laid here, then I'm going to tell you bye. But if I see you adding on, because I see he put you here so that we can move together in prosperity, let's go. But if you're coming in and you're trying to divert, no, you're not. You're not. No. That's why I teach people to stand firm on your morals, your values, your principles. Don't flip-flop. So if you have a vision, you have a dream, you have a purpose, you have an idea, you have ideas. And guess what? I don't care what color they are, since y'all like to do the black and white thing, right? Nobody, no matter how much they might try to interfere with you, nobody can stop you from being successful in life but you. Don't fall for that outside bull crap. You the one had to put in the footwork. You're going to be kicked down. You're going to be knocked down. You're going to fall down. The point is just getting back up. See, a lot of people fall and they stay down. Now, I can share that with you personally. I mean, I was well on the way with certain things here. And I seen how God shut that door. Bam! I'm like, oh my God, what happened? But I seen it. I seen what he did. Shut it right down. And I said, uh-oh, I got enough out of this because he got bigger and better things that he's moving me to. And when he shut it down, I mean, I seen it go boom. I'm like, oh my God. And hell broke loose. Sometimes God will move you away from stuff because he already know what's about to happen. He already know. It's us sometimes that don't understand what he's doing. And a lot of times I don't. I just know he's doing what he's doing. You get me? So I try not to question what he's doing. I mean, okay. All right then. Look, I'm telling you from personal experiences, he have a way of shutting us down, and he will move people out your life. The ones that ain't supposed to be there, he will move them. And guess what? A lot of people he moved out my life, and I'm saying this for y'all on my Facebook page. I love y'all. I admire y'all. I respect y'all in the work you do in the community. It wasn't my goal to move away from a lot of y'all. That's what God did, not me. God removed a lot of people out my life. And thank you, Lady J. And she said, Steve, don't let them back in. So now y'all got to understand this too. Because of the community work a lot of us do. We're in the community. We have nonprofits. We have programs to build back up in the Black community. So as a result of saying that, when I'm in the community, yeah, we're going to run across each other. I'm not going to sit back and say, oh, I ain't talking to you because it's no. I'm going to greet you. I'm going to hug you. You know Big Steve love you. But Big Steve knows, and y'all know too, that we just can't hang together like that like we used to. You have your way of doing things. I have my ways of doing things. I will never interfere with your work. I don't want you to interfere with my work. That's not how life is. So I'm just saying this to my family in Baltimore City. And I'm talking about the nonprofits and the businesses the people that I worked with in the community. God showed me who's there really for you and who's not. And you already know who you is. You can talk about me all you want, but y'all know, guess what? Y'all be lying when you talk about Steve Copeland. That's why I don't worry about that. Because a lot of y'all that knows me and walk with me know when it comes to the people in Baltimore City, Steve Copeland do not play. Brandon Scott can tell y'all that. Mayor Brandon Scott, Ivan Bates, a lot of our council members, a lot of our politicians, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, they know when it comes to the people, big mouth, bald head, black dude, Steve Copeland with the gray hair right here, don't play. And my church members know it too. No, I don't play. That's why I try not to walk on water today. Because I don't play when it comes to our people. That's why I work with the homeless population. Because they need that love and support from the state and the government. They need it. That's why I do what I do. I fight against wickedness. Rather it's the police department, they might say, we're going to get your big mouth tail. Rather it's the police department, rather it's politics, or rather it's religion. Y'all know I don't play. No, I don't. But look, that's the good part when you stand firm on your morals, values, and principles. Brandon Scott, Mayor Brandon Scott, you know I love you, bro. You know it. I call you nephew all the time. And I'm really proud of you. I watch people come for you, but one thing I do know, Brandon Scott loves himself some Baltimore City. Ivan Bates as well. Westmore too. But y'all got to understand the game of politics. A lot of them have other people to answer to too in higher places, you get me? So it's a real challenge to stand firm on your stuff. And if y'all know, I want to make sure I say it right, Donald, because it's Donnie Glover. He's a journalist in Baltimore City. He speaks out a lot. Him and I done community meetings together, right? Events I meant. And it's a lot of them. Dr. Hathaway, Dr. Humphrey, it's a lot of them that I've been on platforms with when it comes to talking about the crisis in Baltimore City. Now, since my arrest, Baltimore City, in 2 years ago, it was told to me to step back some because of this. That's why when I come on my live, I have to speak a certain way. Even TikTok don't like when you bash religion and politics. And another thing too, as a recovering addict, I have to watch certain words that I say out my mouth on TikTok because it goes against their community guidelines. So you never want to talk and make a person that's struggling with certain lifestyles. And I'm talking about, rap is taking them down, bad behaviors, or trauma. It's a certain way you have to communicate it to get the message back out. So TikTok knows whenever I do my live, I'm going to make at least five small videos after that. Now they're getting to the point where they tell me that my videos is not something I have to peel every time I do it. And I always say for educational purposes only, community guidelines. Now, once I see my numbers growing up, I see that they didn't block it, but they will block certain things. And I might have to take that video down. But other than that, like I tell TikTok, and I'm telling you too, Facebook, because y'all are looking at me. Y'all know when I open up my mouth, I'm as a community activist, as a community organizer, as a homeless advocate, as a human rights advocate. Y'all are entrenching on my First Amendment rights. I already know that. But y'all know too, when Mr. Copeland opened up his mouth, it's about educating the community, helping our people to understand what's going on around them, helping them to understand where these programs are at. And I can only speak for Baltimore City unless somebody in another city want to send me some information that I can post on my page, or I can post on my Google page to let people know in Philly they doing such and such and such. In DC they doing such and such and such. That's how I promote and advertise the businesses. And I had to tell them, I'm not up here to bash nobody. I'm not up here to, basically try to follow their guidelines, right? No, I'm not here to knock anybody, but if you're a crud ball, you're a crud ball. What I had to learn throughout the years, relax, stop calling people names. Because when I would come on my live, I would say such and such, such and such and such and such, and I would get violated. I had Facebook shut me down for a whole month. I know a lot of people do not come on Facebook no more. When it comes to talking about politics, community stuff, religion, they on other platforms. Facebook has blocked a lot of my information that I put out. And I guarantee you TikTok doing the same things. Because they don't want people to be, they don't want people to be educated. And if you want me to get deep, I'm talking about the Black community. I'm talking about the Black community. if you want me to take it deeper. And for y'all that's doing research and stuff like that, this is where a lot of their information coming from. Where they doing statistics on us as a whole. And they gather certain information together and they put a percentage to it. That's why I don't pay a lot of attention to it. And another reason why I don't pay a lot of attention to it, because if I go to the hospital about anything specifically, a doctor will come in and they will come in with their students. And the students will come in and they will ask you questions, if you don't mind sharing with them. This where a lot of them get that information from. Just like my daughter is studying to be a lawyer. So I asked her, I said, are you familiar with the constitutional rights as well? Because they are the laws. Laws is created to teach you how to become a better person in life. And laws are created to actually tear your life apart if they have to. It can be used against you as well in a negative way. And I'm surprised a lot of y'all don't understand that. The 5 books of Moses. You familiar with the 5 books of Moses? They are the laws of the land. How do you think they structure life? It all comes from that. It ain't that man is creating nothing new. Man is going off of old information about life and living life more productively. I can tell you right now, if I'm out in the inner city community, in the hood, and if a police just jump out and stop me, they got a damn problem. They got a serious freaking problem. Look at me. If they stop me today, and I'm in the inner city, they got a serious problem. Because they know basically how to identify certain people with certain behaviors. They already know that, and I know it too. So if you don't carry those type of characteristics, right, that they looking for in you, they not gonna mess with you. But when they see a well-rounded conservative man like myself in the hood, they know it's something different about that man right there. And it ain't that he's in here trying to hustle or do nothing like that. I'm telling you personally. They know something totally different. That's all I got to do is look at him and go, they know. They know it's something different about this man right here. Just the way I walk. Just the way I carry myself. They know it's something totally different. And if one of them do stop me, 9 times out of 10, we're going to have a beautiful conversation. Because I'm going to pick with them. Not in a negative way, but pick with them to play and have fun. You get me? And then I'll turn around and say something stupid for them, like, I need to search you then. Or something like that, right? I'll just say something stupid. Because I try not to take it personal. But one thing I do know, and I'm just sharing with y'all for the work I personally do. Anytime they stop me, either you got somebody, mainly if they white, either you got somebody that's trying to racially profile me. And as a human rights advocate, you don't want to do that with me. I have no problem in telling you, get me a sergeant. Get me a commander. I have no problem. Because I know the steps it takes after that. So you're not just dealing with an ordinary person. I have no problem going to the commissioner because I will ask you for your badge number. I will ask you for your name and badge number. And I will go to your commissioner, if not your commander or your chief. I've done it. If not your supervisor as well. I've done it. And that's all I got to do is throw certain things at them. If you stop me, because I'm the same guy as a community activist. If something happening to the community, like some lives was taken or pew-pewing, and I happen to ride up on it, I'm going to park my car. I'm definitely going to go to investigate for myself, evaluate for myself what's going on. I will see the guy in the white shirt. Normally, that's your lieutenant. Could be your sergeant. Let me make sure I get the order right. Could be the commander, could be the chief. Right? 9 times out of 10, the only time the commissioner come out or the mayor come out is when they have been unalived or a major fire or something like that. And they can only go off the information that they're being fed. That's how they share their stories, because they didn't eyewitness for themselves. Y'all need to pay more attention. Pay attention. Because if you listen to like Brandon Scott and them, because that's the mayor, if you listen to any of them talking about an incident that they did not experience for themselves, they have to gather enough information to make their talking points. That's what you do when you speak out. You learn what the topic is or the issue may be or the crisis may be, and then you elaborate on it from the information that your colleagues feed you. And they have to make it sound real valid, even if they lying. I see this all the time. Well, you know, mainly when I'm out in the community dealing with certain things. I see it. And that's what happens when you like hands-on compared to a lot of y'all and what is called anecdotal or however y'all want to name it. I'm going to look that up. But anecdotal or generalized stuff, you talking about stuff that you have not personally experienced for yourself. And you trying to make it factual. And some of y'all are so proud of yourself. Just to sit up here and be able to have a conversation and making it sound so extravagant and something that you personally seen for yourself. And then I'm listening to a lot of y'all will go back and say, well, my grandmother told me this, my grandfather told you that. I had no experience in it, but you what? What did you just say? And you want to bring somebody else's stuff in as factual. And not saying it's not for them. Don't get it wrong. But I said somebody else's stuff. And I watch a lot of people on here do that on TikTok. Just to make a point. To get a debate across. And I tell y'all right now, when I open up my mouth to share my personal experience, you can't debate that. Know why? Because it's already something I did. It's in the past. It can't be fixed. I'm talking about from your end. Because it's something that I had to correct. And y'all never catch it. So why would you want to debate somebody who's sharing from a level of personal experience and you only sharing from gathered information? Do you know how ridiculous that looks to me? To somebody that didn't live through it? But then I got to respect if that's where you at. with your generalizing and your anecdotal conversation and using everybody else's life experience as an example, if that's where you at, that's where you at. And I'm not playing. I'm look, I'm laughing, but that shit be like cuckoo to me. You talking about somebody else's story to make your point. And you stand firm on somebody else's stuff, 10 toes down. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Because you're afraid to talk about yourself. You're scared to talk about yourself. Let somebody know how you used to act a certain way or used to be a fool, right? And you no longer practice those behaviors. I know people look at TikTok. It's an app, yes, but it's a social media platform where we're socializing, we're having conversations with each other. TikTok is no different than Facebook. TikTok is no different than Instagram. TikTok is no different than LinkedIn. TikTok is no different than Vimeo, Twitter, Twitch. It's no different. Yes, it's a platform, but it's a social media, social platform where people gather together. You can be fake and phony over here if you want to lie to yourself and swear by God you're being fake and phony is the truth. You're lying to yourself when you have about 5 or 6 other pages and you feel as though you need to pop up on a platform under another name. It shows me where you're at here psychologically because you're faking. That's why they called fake pages. So who are you today? You need to ask yourself. Because when you come up on the platform what I'm on and I listen to you, and I'm trying not to evaluate you like I do my clients that I know that have mental issues, psychological issues, and I see a lot of it right here. But I try not to. I watch a lot of people peacefully and calm. Now I'm a big mouth dude anyway. If you hear me talking calm and cool, that's out the norm for me. I'm telling you now, that's out the norm for me. Because I'm loud and I get real loud. Sometimes I have to tell my own so shut up, Steve. But no, I get loud. I can tell you about Steve. Why? The problem. Didn't I just tell you 20 times I'm loud? So why you gotta be so loud? I speak out a lot. Well, why you gotta be so loud then? I'm like, crazy as a bitch. Something wrong with you. Your comprehension skills is like broke. So I'm starting to learn now that I have to start, for a lot of people that don't understand where Big Steve is coming from, for a lot of people that don't understand where Deacon Steve is coming from, right? I can come from a religious standpoint, but mark my words, I'm not going to quote scripture. Because what I begin to understand, throughout my walk, in the ministry, right? And I watch my pastor. My pastor teaches scripture. He don't preach. He teaches it. And when I say that, it's like he breaks it down and make it so plain and simple. And that's what I love about it. He just break it so in layman terms. But if you're not spiritually connected, this is what I learned too. It will fly over your head. So whenever I'm in the church family, I can't go here. I don't try to figure out what he's saying. As he's teaching, I try to connect with the Spirit as the Spirit speaks through him to speak to me. Want me to say it again? As he's teaching, I try not to go here. So I'll do this. Because as he's teaching, I am listening as the Holy Spirit speaks from him to me, from him to me, from him to me, from him to me. And sometimes if I don't get the message for why I'm there, then it wasn't meant for me. I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to get upset. But that's the way God talks to us. Sometimes he speaks through us through people. If we sit still long enough through prayer, prayer is just communicating with God, just like I'm talking with y'all. Prayer is just communicating with the Creator. Meditation is just sitting still, quieting everything down. And I'm talking about mainly here. You got to quiet the mind. You might have to do some breathing process because what you're doing, you're inhaling and you exhaling. You're inhaling and you're exhaling. So you're inhaling and you pushing out a lot of the trauma. You're inhaling and you pushing out a lot of the stress. You're inhaling and you pushing out a lot of today's activity. You starting to wind it down. You want to wind your mind down. So you breathing. You inhaling, you exiting. You're inhaling, you're exiting. You're quieting down your mind. He'll start talking to you. And sometimes, that's that little voice. Sometimes, if it's not clear to you during your time of meditation or during your time of yoga, right? If he doesn't make it clear to you at that moment, because you might not have sat still long enough to receive the message. Never open up your mind when you out amongst people. Because what I learned in this process, if I don't sit still long enough to receive the message or to hear the message, sometimes he'll use you to tell me what he was trying to say. And I'll be like, okay, I got it now. That's why we have to keep an open mind when other people is opening up their mouth. I'm telling you from a level of personal experience. I talk a lot, but I had to learn to listen even more. And the reason why I say that, y'all hear me say, I sponsor men and women. Y'all hear me say, I have a housing program. So I do an intake on my clients. I had to get to know the individuals that I'm dealing with in order to better help you turn your life around. So if I'm always talking, how much am I really listening to help you turn the quality of your life around? And not just you. If you are a mother, you got one child, 2, 3, 5, right? And you need somebody to help you. You done everything you could financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, And what you're doing is seem like you just keep falling into this hole, right? Well, Mr. Steve, I need your help. I need your program to help me. Well, the thing is, when you come to Mr. Steve, you're the one that have to do the work to turn your life around. We provide the services. You got to do the work. So if you're not really willing to do the work to change your mindset, to change the quality of your life, then there's nothing we can do for you. And sometimes people come in and they have the best intentions in the world. But then after a while, they don't feel like moving on anymore. So once again, you got to encourage them. You got to motivate them. You got to empower them. And if they don't take heed, then there's nothing else we can do. So I can't keep you because you're holding up space for somebody else who probably can really use the program. Only thing I can do is basically give you suggestions. If I take on new sponsees, right? And I'm talking about from the 12-step spiritual program, because I'm already doing it anyway with my housing program. But if I take on new sponsees, right? Because most of my sponsees have clean time. Plus, they business owners, they deacons, they ministers, they doing a lot of great stuff with their life. So if I take on new people, I can't take your life for a joke. And if you have children, that's a package deal. So not just you. If your child, whether it's a boy or girl, 7 years old, probably 6, but 7 years old, you have to sign them up for the mental health program as well. Because a lot of our children are dealing with trauma as well. If it's no more than seeing the pain and the destruction that their mother been through with baby daddies. Y'all don't want me to go there. Because if you fought on her and her kids, watch y'all. Do you know how mentally, emotionally, and I want to make sure I say it right because they're looking at what you're doing. It affects them. If you talking down to their mother, telling their mother she ain't this, she ain't that, you this, you that, and the children watching you bash their mother, it's like you tearing that child apart as well. So a lot of y'all know that, whether it's the man or the woman. If the woman is constantly bashing verbally, mentally, emotionally, and this is both now, this is both, turn each other apart, and your children watching, and the moment you see your children crying, understand what y'all saying to each other is affecting them mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and they are children. And you'll turn around and do it again, knowing that it's turned your babies apart. The both of y'all. And then he gonna turn around. Well, you did. Well, you did. Well, you did. Well, you did. No, be accountable for your stuff, bros, brothers, kings. And sometimes, right, when you can't keep order in the house or the peace in the house, you have to separate. You go gather your thoughts yourself. She gather her thoughts herself. Don't just jump into something right off of that because you want somebody there. Because you feel like you can't be without a wing or you can't be without a poo. I'm a man. I'm supposed to have. No, you're a man, but you ain't even checking your own self out. Men get to know themselves. And when I hear a lot of men, and I'm saying that's 63, right? So y'all know I've been through a lot of that. So when I say I'm a retired OG, when I say I'm a retired sugar daddy, When I say I'm a retired whoremonger, when I say I'm a retired, I've been through all that. So for TikTok's sake, right? If we want to call a woman a 304, men, you better look in the mirrors too, because you are no different. Because the 304 need you and your money, and you need them and their body. So what makes you any different? But y'all want to justify it. Well, see, men, it's all right for men to do. No. I used to think the same way until I woke up. My manhood ain't judged by this right here today. It ain't judged by how many I could knock down. And that's why I hear a lot of y'all talking about, and it goes to show me you still stuck. And somebody said it a little bit earlier, like when men start getting in their 50s, no, I think he said 40s at the time. I said I didn't start slowing down until I got in my 50s. And I'm 63 now. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I go get me some Beijing number 47 and die this right here. I'm 63, and I guarantee you it's going to take off 20 years. And to me, I don't look no 63. And y'all know, and I'm telling you me, if I get some Beijing here, be honest with you, she going to be at least in her 40s. I mean, 30s, maybe 20s. I'm telling you me. I don't have to lie about me. Because I remember back in the days when I used to say I like them over 18 but under 25. I remember telling myself, Steve, don't mess with nobody under 21 again. Been through all of that. Then when I started seeing they can be young, 30, 40, and act very, 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 very mature for their age, but they still growing. Now, guess why I can see that now? Because I'm a lot older. And even if I date a woman 50, that would be like me dating a young girl at 63. Y'all might not, because they grandma. No, that would seem like a young girl to me now. My ex-wife is 48. Now that we all grown and I'm 63, if I date somebody younger than that, to me, that's like me dating a hopper at 63. And guess what? This ain't what I think. I'm looking at my age now. I'm looking at the knowledge now. I'm looking at the growth. I'm looking at the wisdom. I'm looking at how life changed. And if you acting immature, men, you're going to get immature women in your lives. Once you begin to understand your values, your worth, I was going to say your quantity. I was going to say your quantities. But look, once you understand your values, your worth, who you are, you want that mate that will match that energy. A lot of y'all, that's all y'all talk about is finances. Then you talk about the clubs. You still into that partying phase. Swinging. The club lifestyle. That's an indication you still young to me. I don't care if you 50 years old, you still like hanging at the clubs. That sounds real immature to me. socially. And then I'm hearing a lot of y'all talking about, I ain't paying for dinner on the first date. I ain't this, I ain't that. Where the hell that come from? And then y'all talking 50-50. I'm like, huh? I ain't never had nobody in my life where we went 50-50. I might start copying a lot of the stuff y'all saying. I might not get into no relationship no more. That's a lie. I might just start sling-a-ling-a-ling again, right? Because I've been exercising. I've been trying to get down. I'm like 200. I said, I'm going to go ahead and get down to 190. Had this sexy body where I know, look, women want me now. And I already know that. Even if they don't, I tell myself they do. But look, I know who I am as a man. I know what I bring to any relationship. Real simple. Guess why? Because I know who I am as a father with 4 grown daughters and 2 granddaughters. So you going to tell me at 63, I don't know what to do in life? When me and my ex-wives raised our kids and put them through college, the oldest one is an LPN. 9 times out of 10, I turn around, she's going to be an RN because I seen where she went at. She's going to be an RN. She got 2 children. My 30-year-old work at a pharmaceutical place. My 26-year-old is working on her license to become a daycare provider. My 24-year-old is going back. She's working at a law firm now, but she's going back to college to get her law degree. My 22-year-old, his goal is to become a professional soccer player. He wants to play overseas where he can make millions. So I don't worry about them. They already doing what they planning on, with their lives. I'm so proud of them. That's why I go back and help others. My nieces and nephews that I raised, I did foster care with. I'm so proud of them. They all independent people living in the suburbs with their children. I'm proud of them. And yeah, I will brag and I will boast about mine. I will brag and I will boast about the Copeland family. Because no matter how we lived back in the days, and I did my stuff in the streets, even though, we kept a lot of this away from the children where they couldn't see it, what was actually happening. So I thank God none of them live that life today to try to, use the streets to become successful. I thank God for that. The women in the Copeland family, now the men are great too, don't get it wrong, but it's the women that's more powerful to me. And they know it. Independent women. But it's not a competition. That's just the way we was raised. And from the way my mother raised me is the same morals, values, and principles that I instilled in my nieces and nephews. Then my children came along. Right? Independent people. People need to hear stuff like this. Mainly when they have family members that's being really chaotic and out of control. They need to feel some sense of hope for their families. And I tell y'all over and over and over, if I did not believe that Black people will change, and I know everybody not going to change, but if I did not believe that Black people don't want to turn their lives around, if I did not believe, I would not be a human rights advocate. I would not be a homeless advocate. I would not be a community organizer. I would not be a community activist. I would not be a community outreach coordinator. I would not have named my LLC Strengthen the Community. The LaTanya D. Copeland House of Hope foundation. If I did not believe that black people wouldn't change, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I coming up against the people that's holding us down the most, or at least trying to hold us down? And they ain't all white, so y'all need to stop that. Because when you got people with money, black billionaires, Chinese billionaires, billionaires, and people that's worth hundreds of millionaires, hundreds of millions, but I like to say theirs. They the ones that we tend to work for. They the ones that create these businesses and projects. I can tell you that personally from a person that's running an LLC. I need y'all to help the business grow the same way we use them to help their business grow and for them to become successful. Y'all don't realize that? It doesn't matter whether they're black, white, Chinese, Hindu, Eldu, CD, IE, whatever. It's the haves. And we have not to where they're at. We cost them money because they pay taxes on us, even though you're working for their companies. I didn't realize a lot of this myself, right, until I looked at it. And the same with a church. When you have mega churches out there, a lot of them start from small churches. They grew over the years. It's the people. The church does not belong to the pastor. The church belongs to the community. So it's the people. As the church begin to grow with that becomes mega churches. As the congregation grow, they need a bigger place. They can provide more services like other buildings to help the people in the community. That's why when I hear a lot of y'all, I know y'all don't understand church. You think it's all about the pastor himself. In some cases, it might be. But your churches doesn't belong actually to the pastor. That's y'all bull crap. And it goes to show me a lot of y'all don't understand nothing about business. Y'all don't understand nothing about nonprofits. But you like to do this. Get involved in whatever community events, community stuff that's going on. Actually get involved in your church. You ain't got to get in there and get with this gang, that gang, this gang, that gang. You ain't got to do that. But get involved in the church and watch and see where the money goes at. They do tithing because this is what helps keep the church going. Y'all forgot gas and electric, water bill. If the church haven't brought the building itself, they paying off a mortgage. It's the congregation that puts that money together for those bills to be paid. Tithing, offering, artificial sacrifices. Normally when they do stuff like that, they doing a building fund. Sometimes if you want to add, say like another building, because you're in a mega church, to the facility for the function itself, it might cost millions. So you might get the loan to build the building, but then you got to pay that money back. So it's the church that puts the people, the congregation, that puts the money in to pay for this. And I'm not talking about your pastors that fly around in planes, and because you know that's probably a total different from what I'm talking about. See, now y'all got me thinking about like Creflo Dollar and Kenneth, Copeland and all that type of stuff. I'm just talking about people like that. But understand this, y'all, it's the church. It's the congregation if they're not making their own money to afford this. And a lot of pastors, like your circuit pastors, that go and speak out, they charge a nice amount of money to come to other churches speaking out. 30, 40, $50,000. All that. Oprah Winfrey, if she goes speak somewhere, she basically charge about $1 million to go speak for somebody else. And people will pay. Telling you now. So I'm only saying this now because now I can't speak for every church, but I can tell you when it comes to the Church of the Redeemed, Bishop Jerome started out in a storefront church. I'm gonna say 40 years ago, right? They grew from like 12 to now we got probably over 6,000 members. And we are one of the mega churches in Baltimore City. We're not as big as Mount Pleasant. Or it's a couple of other ones that my pastor fellowship with. We might not be as big as them, but we are big. Right? And most of your churches watch that has the big screen TVs and the setting area set up nice. My church the same way. Because once you become a mega church like that, they are designed a certain way. So some of those mega churches that's really immaculate, like stadium type churches, is certain people that design them type of churches, companies wise, right? I'm trying to get to as they begin to grow like that. So when you see people like TD Jakes, or you see people like Creflo Dollar, they might have every weekend, just say they could fill the church up with like 5,000 member seats, right? 5,000 seats. But the church might have about 10,000 or 20,000 members. So everybody not at the church. Some people watching them from home. Some people watching them from overseas and stuff like that. But they still donate, their tithing and stuff like that. So yes, and I'm only sharing with y'all because I'm looking at my church, the church I go to, my pastor, and the things that we do. And some of the mega churches that we fellowship with too in Baltimore City. And at one point, my pastor stopped traveling, but he started traveling again now, as far as going to other churches speaking out. So now you got to look at the choir, because just about the whole choir will go with him. And I'm not even talking about the ministers, the elders, and all that, and the church members too, because we're going to go with our pastor. If your church is not big enough to hold us, then my pastor not going to come to your church. I'm telling you now. So now look at TD Jakes, look at Creflo Dollar, look at a lot of your mega church pastors. I don't care if they black, white, Jamaican, Hispanic. If you are a circuit, just keep in mind your circuit pastors that tends to go around the world preaching or teaching and stuff. I'm telling you, a lot of them get paid good money. And be honest, you shouldn't charge, right? Y'all know that. But we're going to take an offering for whoever come anyway, and that's what most churches do. So I'm only putting this out because you do have some wonderful churches out there that's doing some great things. And when I open up my mouth and I talk about the Church of the Redeemed, then one of y'all can badmouth him. You can't touch him. Nope. That's one, I'm telling you point blank. He's staying firm on what he believes and teaches. And I'm saying this, he got a beautiful wife and everything. We have some beautiful women in the church. So I'm telling you point blank, if he wanted to be the type of man to do what he do, he can. But guess what? He don't step across some lines. And I'm going to tell y'all myself, as an ordained deacon in this church, I can step across certain lines too. But I don't try to take advantage of my position, you get me, to basically get what I want. And I know I can. That's not a problem. I know what I can do. But guess what? I'm going to tell y'all why I don't practice that in that sense. Because I feel like the Holy Spirit going to chew me up. How many men y'all know talk about like that? I feel like if I went in this church, and I've been there a day at a time for a little over 24 years, if I go in this church and start sleeping with this one, that one, this one, that one, I feel like the Holy Spirit gonna tear me up. That's the reason why I don't do it. I can't speak for nobody else. When I'm in the church, I don't want to look at Sister Hoochie Hoochie, Sister Hoochie Hoochie, Sister Hoochie Hoochie. Oh my God, I just slept with her. I just slept with her. I just slept with her. So I'm going to sit there in the spirit and be comfortable. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Knowing that I'm just telling y'all me. And I'm a good looking man. And I love dressing when I step up in the church. And anybody that knows me know when Deacon Steve come in, they know bam, bam, bam. They know. Because there's other guys in there, married men or whatever, and we all like swagger. We all like, we dress a certain way, and they be like, wow, bro, I love that. And they know it. And it's a lot of women in the church that knows when Deacon Steve come. And I'm going to tell you this too. A lot of the other pastors or deacons or wives that know Steve going to tell you, nope, stay away from that. But it's not in a bad way. They just know I'm not for all that other junk. That's all I'm saying. I'm not for it. I'm not for it. I don't want to be uncomfortable in my church. I don't want to go in there and be like, darn, I slept with Sister Betty. Dang, I slept with her daughter. Oh my God. Dang, I slept with this one, that one. And I'm sitting in the church trying to enjoy the spirit. And next thing I know, pew, 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 pew. I'm talking about me. I don't know about other men. I'm talking about me. I might get to that point when I turn 110. I don't know. I might put a sign on my forehead. Looking for love, looking for love, looking for love. I know my pastor will probably kick me out. Get his crazy butt out of here. Here he go again, Deacon Steve, him and his crazy self. Pastor, I ain't had none in 6 years now. I'm going to put a big old sign. Ready to release it. Ready to release it. I'm ready to let it go. I need some poo-poo bang bang, poo-poo bang bang. Y'all know they're going to kick me out. They're going to be like, he need Jesus again. He need Jesus. I'm telling y'all. Sometimes I be hooking it up, Sir Joe. I be hooking it up some Sundays. I be going in there. Look. You know how the women might wear certain things to come in and look all cute and sexy, and I be looking real handsome. I be like, Steve, cut that bullshit out, bro. Cut that bullshit. I gotta tell myself, cut it out. Cut it out. That's why I be laughing and picking with y'all sometimes. I said, I dress up like that 304. Because I'm telling you, I'm a dressing man. I love colors, flashy stuff. I love it. And then on top of that, I grew up wearing Smokey Joes and all that, wide-legged pants and stuff like that. So now I'm into this slim fit stuff. I want to make sure I don't say skinny, because it's not skinny. I'm into this slim fit stuff. I love, I'm a little bit bigger up here. That's why I've been trying to work out more, because I love that tight fit stuff. Oh, I love that style. And like the straight-legged pants. And my length is 32, right? So I might want my pants to be like 29. So my socks will show. Even when I wore over 300 pounds, I always been, once I got into the church, a flashy dresser. I call it conservative. Like I be seeing guys with suits on and they be having tennis on with it now. I think it's so corny. I think it's so corny, but that's the style for some people. I think it's so corny. I don't know. All depends on the time of day. I wear a pair of jeans with some dress shoes and might throw a blazer on with it. It all depends on where I'm at. Because I got it. Look, somebody said the other day, right? I make the clothes look good. And that's the truth. That's the truth. And I know. That's because, one, and I'm saying this to our men, if you the type of man that you into Michael Jordans and all that type of stuff, and that's what you brag on about, and that's where you at, and that's how you carry life, that's you. All right? I have tennis too. I have tennis right here, I have tennis over there, and I have tennis in the closet. They're not Jordans. They are fashionable. So if I wear a pair of dress pants or a suit, that's if I choose to wear a pair of my tennis with it. They're going to blend in like shoes. So you know a lot of people's wearing those with some tennis that's out now. And they begin to get real expensive too. It'll pop in my head. But to me, I'm a classic man. I'm telling you. And I shouldn't have to say a lot of that, right? Because if you look at me for yourself, you should be able to identify certain things. Now I'm sitting right here, got my little Long John shirt on, right? Got my shirt on under here because I'm going to take me a walk in a little bit, right? And I wanted to just come on, you know, I threw this on to come on, to be honest. And I threw this on just to come on too. And I threw this on. I was getting ready to wear like a dress shirt and a vest or something like that, right? I said, no, bring it down a little bit. And I guarantee you, what I just described flew right over some people's heads. I never was a bum. All right? Never. When I iron my clothes, I used to put creases in my pants. I might have creases in some now, but I started ironing the creases out my pants over the years. Mainly when I started wearing slim fit stuff. I began to iron the creases out. And all depends on where I'm at and how I feel. I still use spray starch. Okay? I'm talking about old school. I still have spray starch. I iron my blazers too. Now, I do a lot of this myself. But if I want to take them to the cleaners, I can do that too. But it's nothing like when you hooking your stuff up the way you want it itself. It's nothing like it. It's nothing like when you spray starch on your dress shirts, right, to get your collars to stick right. It's nothing like it. Whether you're going to put on a bow tie or whether you're going to put on a regular tie, and my tie is not real long. Okay? But up top is kind of big because I love it skinny around the neck, but big up here. Skinny right here, skinny. I'll poke them in like this myself and have that stick out like this. My bow ties. and this be a little bit fatter because it's a certain way I like to look. And then in my suit jacket, right, I fluff up my handkerchief. And sometimes what I do, I pin them together, right, because it all depends on the blazer, and I pin it in so it will stay like that. I want it to look like a rose coming out. I'm telling you, me. And 9 times out of 10, my socks gonna match my tie. Very colorful. I ain't even talking about the shoes yet. Because when I step, I step. Now, mind y'all, I'm only saying this because I'm thinking about, remember that fashion show that was out? They might still have them out now. But the fashion show, and I'm trying to think who used to host that show, where I watched like them design outfits and stuff, and they would do like polka dot pants. I'm gonna use that as an example, right? Because I'll hook them up real quick. I'm telling you, like a striped shirt or stripy pants with a polka dot shirt, and then a certain. I was like, oh my god, I like that. Now I'm telling you, don't too many men dress like that unless they more like classic men. And I realized that. And I'm gonna tell you something too. The style from back in the 30s and stuff, right, is where a lot of men that might have the nice big hats on and stuff like that, and you be like, wow, and they might have the cigars and stuff, and you be like, wow, that's a real conservative man. You know what I mean? When I see my brothers like that, if you ask me to come, like you want to do a fashion show, and you ask me to wear something nice, you know I'm gonna step up in there. Because I'm coming in just like one of your fashion models. I'm telling you. And I can walk right with them. Now, I'm going to say this, because y'all like to play with words, right? If you want to say, oh, that's his ego, oh, that's his pride, you damn right. I'm just saying it, right? Because we like to sit up here and take something positive, right, and put it in the negative. You damn right. If I step up somewhere, I'm telling you, let me step in the room with Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and the rest of them. I guarantee you. And I know it's a black tie affair. I guarantee you I step in there. All eyes gonna be on me. I already know because that's the way I'm gonna come. I'm gonna be close now, but I'm gonna throw something in there to go pop, pop, bang. I'm telling you, me. You might be worth hundreds of billions, but I'm gonna step up in that sucker looking like I'm worth it too. Because this what they have on gonna look corny to me. That's all it is. That's all it is. And the most of them gonna be dressed alike. I already know that because I say it too much. So when I step in any event, I'm talking about politically, religiously, any event, I'm gonna come in with a swagger to it. Even when I used to sing with the men's choir in the church, Ron, right? They say we're all black, all black, all black. I had to come in with a little bling bling. They was like, Steve, we said we're all black. I had to pray to become obedient. When they say we're all black, we're all black. You don't have to throw a little, you know, I might throw a color tie in or something, you know what I mean? Or some different socks with the tie just to add a swag to it, right? I had to pray. I had to pray because it's my flesh. And I had to pray to be obedient. If they say we're all black, Steve, we're all black. So if y'all want to blame stuff like people that tends to carry life a certain way, and you want to say, oh, that's his ego, that's his pride, But my thing is, don't take it in a negative way, because y'all are real good with that. That's your way of trying to tear somebody down for being comfortable with themselves, and you're not. And understand, when you do it, I'm catching you. Because why would I sit back? If I'm not confident in me, I'm not going to compliment you. But if I'm confident in me as a man, and I compliment another man, I'm not saying, hey, you sexy, I like to be with you. No. I encourage and empower our men, because there's some things you do in life that most men don't do. Like this young man started following me, and he said a father that something, right? He said he's a father that basically in his children's lives. And I sent them information. I said, nephew, I'm so proud of you. See, I grew up without a father. 63. I did foster care. I did mentoring young men to try to fill that gap of their father not being in their lives. Biologically, you can't feel it. But I can physically, emotionally, mentally support. But biologically, no. And I begin to understand that. You know, that's a bond between the father and the child and the mother and the child. Biologically, that's what makes the circle complete. But I still believe in our men who have children, but just wasn't taught how to be productive and be in their children's lives. So don't get mad with me when I come in and I talk about responsible men or teaching men how to be responsible. Don't try to preach to the choir for a man that grew up without a father. And it still hurts to this day. But I try not to let it hurt me as much, because my thing is, you know I'm here. Why you never came looking for me? Now, I don't know if he passed away or not, but if he did, you know, forgiveness is there. Do I have other brothers and sisters by him? Do they know about me? Why they haven't reached out to me? Because I don't know. I know his first name, I know his last name, but I don't have his middle initial. And when I went looking for him, that's why I couldn't find him, because I didn't have a middle initial to narrow it down even more. I had to let it go. I had to move on with my life. So that's why I encourage and I motivate our men and try to empower them. Rather you and the mother get along or not, it doesn't matter. At that time when y'all was together swapping stuff, it went well. Now that y'all ain't together, you're no good, she's no good, that are no good, this no good. No, they still good. It just didn't work. Real simple. Be honest with yourself. It just didn't work. Don't keep your children from their fathers. I had it happen to me. But guess what? I still love my ex-wife. I know she was going through her stuff. I felt like she hid them from me and everything. But guess what? I knew it wasn't going to last long. Got put on child support, went down and laid child support asses out. Know why? Because I raised her 2 kids before mine came. I just wanted them to know I'm not a sorry excuse of a man. That's all. How many of y'all do that? I wanted them to know who I am in the inside. And they understood. And she broke it down to me, said, Mr. Copeland, if you had came, we would have worked on it for you. But by her coming, you know, she filed, and I was all right with that once she explained it. I paid over $1,000 a month. And I know no matter what, she took care of the kids, because that's how she is. But guess what? No matter what my kids wanted, daddy still made sure they had it. Did you guys miss it? Right now, to this day, and my son is working. My daughters are working. If they call me and say, Dad, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be like $300, $400, $500. Will you have it such and such date? They know to ask way ahead of time to prepare Dad. Because I'll go on my head and I'll be like, nope. You working, you should have did this better. You should have done that better. We taught y'all better than that. And then I'll be like, oh, shut up, Steve. That's just a parent. And I guarantee you, most parents where I'm at, with grown children now and grandkids or children, period, and their children is their number one priority, we're going to talk all this tough stuff like, I ain't doing this, I ain't doing that. When you say you need it again, I'll be like, God dang it, I did it again. They keep playing me. That's why both of my phones, right? Both of my phones on vibrate. I put them on silent because I look and I'll be like, oh, that's Sienna. I ain't answering that phone. Oh, that's little Steve. Then he'll send me a message, Dad, you got such and such. I'll be like, where your money at? That's what I be thinking, but I turn around and send it anyway. I'll be like, come on, fathers, I know y'all understand. Why we do that? Why? I'm like, I'm tired of these kids. Wait a minute, I gotta rephrase it. I'm tired of them damn grown-ups. Want my money. Nobody call me and ask me, Dad, do you need anything? Some say Cash App shopping. They don't call me and be like, Dad, do you need this? Do you need that? I'm talking about finances. I might tell them, hell yeah, just for the hell of it. Yup. Mm-hmm. Yes. Because I'm tired of spending my damn money. Huh? Hang it. Just because me and your mother made you don't mean we got to keep taking. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I know my ex-wife just started Christmas shopping 6 months ago. She do it every year. She will start shopping, and I'm talking about like the family, her family, all that, right? She start. She always been like that. It's like what, August, I think? Right about August, she'll start buying Christmas gifts already. And I'm gonna tell you, when our children want stuff, that thing can run 500-600, something like that. She'll start preparing for it. And then she'll call me, Steve, I need such and such and such. No, you don't. Well, they grown now. But I can guarantee you, I already know right now, my 2-year-old, my youngest grandbaby, B2, December. I ain't even asked my daughter yet what they plan on doing. Because I don't know if they're going to keep it simple and maybe go out to eat. That's fine. Or I don't know if they're going to have something elaborate or huge. I don't know. I just know right now I'm not asking. I'm not trying to find out. I'm waiting till the date. Because if I call and ask, money going to be involved. So I figure out mind my business. Just let me know where it's going to be, and I'll show up. She 2 years old, so I'll probably just give her $50 in a card. She's 2. What the hell is she going to do with 50? But I'm going to give it right to her, because that's what's on my mind. And tell her, give it to your mother, and make sure she spend it on you, which I know she is. I ain't worried about that. I'll look, if I ain't got, I'm just talking about me. Every holiday, and I know I look like a Muslim, right? With this on. I'm a Christian. So I know I look like a Muslim, but I'm a Christian. Me no celebrate the holidays no more. Me no speak of English during the holidays no more. Me stopped this long time ago. It was costing too much damn money. And some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Trying to make sure everybody in both families got gifts and stuff. Book. Man, that thing got expensive. Look, well, it's always expensive during the holidays. Y'all know that. Then decorating the house and everything, and you want yours to be the best looking house on the block, all that stuff. I'm like, I remember when. Whew. Staying up here for the night, cooking Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, turkey, ham, fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, potato salad, collard greens, string beans, mashed potato, stuffing. It was plenty of times, the holidays, I cooked all by myself. All by myself. And y'all sit up here and I'm talking about TikTok wise, and I'm going to make sure I put this back over there. Y'all talking about a man wants you to do this, a man wants you to do that. Anytime I cook, I cleans right up. I do not I do not play. Ask my children. I do not play. Ask my ex-wives. I do not play about no dirty house, no stinky house, none of that. I do not play. So I'm the type of person, as I cook, I clean as I go. If I cook from this pan, I'm going to wash it out. I'm going to put it in a container because it got to be put away to be prepared to serve, right? So I'm up all night. Now, this was years ago when I was a little younger, you know, and well, I'm talking about, you know, when I was with my wife and everything. So we talking about over 11 years ago. But still, like, I'll cook this Christmas for the house. But say, like, if I make some macaroni and cheese, I'm going to just do a box because I'm by myself, right? So, and then maybe a little stuffing. Make just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because I'm by myself, right? But still, my daughter said, Dad, I'm going to bring you a plate. I said, yeah, because I'm going to call your mother and tell her to send me one too. Because I know she's going to cook out the yang for her and the kids and her baby father. Because she back with her oldest daughter, baby father. So I know she's going to cook for the house. I'm going to say, can you send me a plate? No, I'm going to call him. I'm going to say, what's up, bro? Tell my ex-wife, which is your girlfriend right now, send me a plate, okay? He probably be like, all right, Steve. Y'all think I'm lying. Y'all think I'm lying. But guess what? Now, this my ex-wife. She's back with her oldest daughter, father. But him and I grew up in the same area. We didn't know each other like that. I knew his brothers and sisters because I'm a lot older than them, right? So I grew up mainly with his brothers and sisters. But when it comes to the street, I remember him from the streets. You get me? In that sense. But out of respect, because his daughter I raised. And that's her father. So I respect that. He was always welcome to come to the house and everything. Always welcome. That's the 30-year-old. The 26-year-old. Her father was always welcome to come. Like, if we had cookouts, parties, whatever. They was always welcome to come to the house. They was always invited, and they was already invited to come with their girlfriends or whatever, their wives or whoever they was with at the time. See, I don't know what a lot of y'all be talking about on TikTok. But I'm telling you from Steve Copeland with 2 stepchildren, daughters that I raised. Their dads was always welcome to come to the house. That was family. We didn't sit up there and argue, man, you sorry, you this, you that. No. Even though I raised them. Check it out. And I never badmouthed none of their fathers. You get me? They had dad, then they had dad. But my 26-year-old, her father, because I knew him, his mother, his family too, right? Because my ex-wife was with him anyway. But I knew his mother. So basically his mother, his father, his uncle, and all of them. So what I did in raising his daughter, right? And I share this with y'all because I'm telling y'all family. I will pick with Melvin. I'm gonna say his name because he know I pick with him. I will call Melvin daddy number 2, and I'm daddy number 1. Melvin be like, cut that shit out, Steve. Cut that shit out. And I would joke with him mainly when we were around his father, his uncle, and all of them, right? The family. I would joke with him. I'd be like, what's up, Dad? You know I'm daddy number 1. That's daddy number 2, and they don't do number crack up. They crack the fuck. Melvin be like, cut that shit out, Steve. Cut that shit out, Steve. And then look, now that we got a grandbaby together, right? I'm being nice, family. I told him he granddaddy number 1. I'll be granddaddy number 2. He said, cut this shit out, Steve. Cut this shit. I don't give what you say. That's my granddad. That's my damn grandbaby. You can't tell me that's not my grandbaby. But I know who her father is. And I know who her grandfather is. But I'm daddy. Oh, I love it. I crack up every time I think about that. Melvin be like, cut this shit out. Cut this shit out. But look, that's how we play. That's how we play. So when I listen to a lot of y'all who have that's in relationships, and I'm talking about either the baby fathers or the baby mothers, y'all need to stop this shit. Because if you get into a relationship with somebody with children and they're maintaining their household, their children is a part of the family as well. If you try to exclude them out, you're a sorry piece of trash. And yeah, I said it. And I have no problem with telling you in your face because it's a family. And that's how we keep the family unit together. Even if we don't see eye to eye, we don't always have to see eye to eye on things. But number one, with both of my stepdaughters, I would never badmouth their fathers around them because they begin to see stuff for themselves, whether they want to be in their lives or not. But whether they was in their lives or not, I was there. You get me? I wanted them to be more involved into their lives. But now, as they all are grown now, they are grown. So that connection now is between the father and the daughter. Just like with my oldest daughter, her brother, when I met my first wife, we was young. We was all young. She was like 15, I was 19. I forgot how old she was when she had Ricardo. But to be honest with y'all, I think he's my son. But I never pushed the issue because she did have a friend. So I never pushed the issue like I want a blood test or whatever, but I believe in my spirit that he probably my son. I do. But never question it because you know why? I basically raised him with his mother in that sense. And what I do with stepchildren, they have the option, if they want to call me dad or Big Steve or something like that, that's fine. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Whatever they're comfortable with, you get me? I'm not going to sit here and say, you called me dad. You didn't know. No. Whatever they're comfortable with. I know who they are to me. That's all that matters. And they know who I am with them. And not just them, but them being their mother's mate or husband. Right? So my first wife, she had a son when her and I got together. No. A little bit after we got together. I've been knowing her at 15. I was 19. I forgot how old we was because I was chasing about 15. But I forgot how old we was when we really got together. But we were still young because she had a baby by me when I was 26. We had a baby together. That's my daughter, my oldest daughter. So no matter what, I had to raise her brother along with her too. He was here before her, but I still had to raise him. And I think, because Sienna is 36, I think he's probably about 40. I could be wrong, but he's probably about 40 now. somewhere along that line. I'm older now. But anyway, and right to this day, to me, even though that's my stepson, it's like a son. So I'm just saying this to some of the younger people. I don't know what the hell y'all be thinking about today. Families, morals, and values ain't gone but so long. It's not pushed completely out the way. Y'all are the one that's breaking a lot of this stuff. Don't blame it on the older people. Y'all quick to do it, right? But now, if you grew up around irresponsible grown people, I got you back. I got you. I understand that part. I understand. But if you've been around people that taught you morals, values, principles, taught you how to be a better human being in life today, but you're not practicing it, can't blame them. If they taught you the qualities, values of living life in a more productive way, it's you that has to practice those morals, values, and principles. But if you know better and you tend to do wrong, then maybe you need to ask yourself why. Okay? Because I hear a lot of y'all on TikTok too and say, see, the older generation, what? Because one thing you do in life, you learn by watching people. And if people talk in one way, but they're not producing or acting or you seeing them walking and actually what they say, then you do the opposite. Because what I learned in life, and I heard it coming up, children are supposed to be heard and not seen, or seen and not heard. I'm sorry, seen and not heard, right? I grew up with that too. But then I started realizing I can say all this all I want, but my children actually watch what daddy do and their mother. I can tell y'all now, by the way they live their lives today, they was taught very well. Even though my ex and I would clash with each other, we would just clash with each other because you got two strong, powerful people, independent people. That's why we clashed. Two strong, well-minded, independent people. And somebody had to humble themselves. And sometimes when you humble yourself, you get sick and tired of always being the one that either got to shut your mouth, look the other way. You get sick and tired of it. But all of that comes along with working things out in your marriage, in your relationship, if it's worth working it out. And I would never suggest to nobody to just walk away. If it's not physically, in that manner, but I went through a lot of this where I'm 6'1", and I begin to feel like I was 5'1". That's how I was torn down. Why am I going to stay in something like that? When I'm thinking I'm growing another head on my shoulder, I'm looking around like, wait a minute, who you talking to like that? That ain't me. I know me. I know how Barbara Jean raised me. So you telling me mama, my mother did a great job with me. I basically raised my older brothers and younger sisters, brothers and sisters. I was the middle child, making market with my mother and everything, paying bills at a young age, cooking, cleaning, washing clothes, all this stuff. And I asked my mother, I said, Mom, why did you teach me all this? She said, just in case you don't meet a woman. What's up, Tony Mo? Just in case you don't meet a woman that will take care of you. So see, when I'm on TikTok and I'm sharing certain things, y'all gotta listen. Y'all better listen. Because Barbara Jean taught me that. Barbara Jean taught me. I wasn't even a man. But she taught me. Men take care of their responsibilities. I'm like, what is that? So what I had to do, because my dad wasn't a part of my life, I had to do the opposite. Make sure I became more a part of my children's lives. Make sure I made sure my family was taken care of. Because I watched my mother raise 7 children by herself, by 7 different men. I watched it. So when you guys want to come on TikTok and y'all want to degrade women who might have 4 or 5 kids by several different men, that don't mean don't take care of your responsibilities. And then if you don't want to be a part of her life, you ain't got to be a part of her life. And then don't come there and plant your seed because you figure just because she got 4, I'm going to give her 5 and I ain't going to take care of her. Them other guys ain't taking care of them. And some of y'all suckers will do that. But then when Mr. Copeland or Big Copeland open up his mouth, I'm going to call you a sucker. You don't like it? Come on. What you say you going to do? Look, I got this guy coming in Baltimore City like 4 o'clock. He going to meet me at Norfolk, Pennsylvania. Yeah. Try me with your slick self. That's why you never tell nobody what you going to do to them. My brothers taught me that. Never let your right hand know what your left hand doing. My brothers taught me that. When you go out and do something, you go do it by yourself. You don't take no witnesses with you. My brothers taught me that. And I be listening to a lot of y'all, and then you wonder why you over the prison. Because you want to promote to everybody, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then wonder why the police come for you. Because you told everybody what you're going to do. You told on yourself. And then they got cameras all around. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. And then when your butt go to get caught, right? I ain't do it. I was over such and such and such, right? And then they turn around and pull up the stuff on you. You be like, damn. Somebody recorded me. Somebody caught the popo on me. No, the camera told on your butt. The videos told on you. Y'all don't think. I was watching some guys jumped out the car the other day. I think it was an old video because I remember seeing it before. And they was pew-pewing, right? Jump back in the car. So one of the reporters said 9 times out of 10 they had something on their hands, like, you know, tattoos or something that they didn't want people to recognize what was what, right? I said, somebody gonna snitch you on your butt. And I'm gonna tell you, you give it time. I don't know why people think that they can go out here and commit crimes and gonna get away with it. You might hang out for a little while. You might get a year or 2 in. But the investigators eventually gonna come and get you. Then somebody gonna tell on you because you bragging about what you did. And I know for a fact, a lot of times before y'all go and commit a crime, the whole world know. Because you don't know how to shut your mouth. And then when somebody snitch on you, or they just tell on you, you're gonna get mad. Don't commit the crime if you don't want to do the time. Don't do it. And they're gonna get mad. I'm gonna just say this on a personal note, and let me see what time it is. I've been on here for 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'm going to say this for a personal note. And I'm saying this because I want to time myself when I go to do this. I cannot understand in my freaking mind why in the hell, men, would you want to do something to get you over in a prison where you're going to be around nothing but men? No women there for you to, romance and be with and release yourself with and stuff like that. Men. And you think that's okay? You in prison with other guys that ain't have smacks? 6 months, 2 years, 20 years, 30 years. And you think they don't want to release themselves in something sometimes? Or somebody, what I'm trying to say. And then you wonder why all of a sudden this dude looking at you. I don't get it. I understand certain things happen where you might end up spending, like getting locked up and spending time for maybe one incident. But to have about 20 or 30, you come home, you back. You come home, you back. You come home, you back. And a lot of y'all lie so much in there. You've been in and out of prison ever since you were 6 months old. I'm like, huh? You been to prison with Al Capone? Damn. Scarface? Damn. John Wayne? I was listening to some prison stories. I'm like, oh my God. They used to hang out with Humphrey Bogart and Clint Eastwood and them. Some of the stories I heard them talk about, I'm like, shit. I used to watch them when I was younger. Y'all wasn't even born. And I watched these guys over there talking about stuff, man. It sound like they've been in and out of prison since they was 3.5 months. Damn. And I ain't trying to be smart, right? I love Cooney Cuckoo. I love the kitty cat. Even though I ain't had none in a while. I still don't want to be around a bunch of brothers. A bunch of daggone balls. And then some are wearing their pants down in prison. And I know what my brothers and them told me about that. And some of y'all going around with your pants hanging down off of your boo-boo in the prison. Telling other men without directly saying it, right? You like this right here. You like this right here. You like this right here. Come on. Come on. And you got brothers that's so proud. I ain't even trying to figure it out. I ain't trying to figure it out because it probably makes sense to a lot of brothers that's actually going back and forth to prison. And there's probably some good reasons to them that they can tell you why. I can't think of one. And I ain't gonna let you convince me no other way. I spent 11 months over there for some bull junk that 2 police officers created to get me off the streets. It wasn't like I went out there and broke the law to get put nowhere. I was in population for about 3 months. And I spent the rest of the time in the prison hospital. Still. Some rooms had, 6 beds in it, and they patients. I started understanding a lot of our criminals deals with psychological issues too. So I'm talking to the guys in the prisons, right? And I suggested to them, if they was on meds before they got locked up, or they was taking meds in the street, psychological, and they stopped taking the meds, then I begin to understand why a lot of them commit the behaviors that they was committing, right? So what I started doing from us talking and everything, suggesting to them to talk with the psychiatrist to get put back on their meds. The only reason why, because a lot of y'all might not understand, when you have a chemical imbalancement within here, and your brain is always racing, sometimes it's hard to catch up with your thoughts to bring stuff back down into perspective or dealing with reality of life. Anytime, and I can only speak for TikTok because I'm on there a lot, anytime you hear somebody talking and they choose to dominate the conversation, you might have 2 or 3 of them when you got a panel of 8. Everybody else is quiet, but it's these 3 that feels like they need to just spew this. 9 times out of 10, there's something racing here. Because they don't recognize nobody else. They just focusing on them and what they need to say in response to each other. And watch how they start over talking each other. They won't let nobody say anything amongst them. Then if you do try to cut in, they're going to shut you off to tell you I ain't finished yet. Now, my thing is, if I come on and I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it. And then I'll mute up. Because if you want to talk, I see your light blink and I'm going to shut my mouth. Those are indications for me to shut up. To let somebody else, say what they got to say. I realize y'all don't pay attention to stuff like that. Because it's real important about what you need to say. Hypothetically. Anecdotally, whatever y'all call it. Generalizing conversations. And can't nobody tell you you're out of balance. So you talking to somebody that deals with people who I know the majority of them need meds or on meds. I know it. And do y'all think people like me don't recognize that in conversations over here? When you need to feel like you want to verbally, mentally, emotionally tear somebody down, and 9 times out of 10, when I'm listening to you, and I don't know you, but if I hear you bashing men, 9 times out of 10, I can tell you didn't have a good relationship with your dad. Then 9 times out of 10 too, whoever you allowed in your life male-wise, treated you like trash. It could be that uncle. It could be that grandfather. It could be your father, your uncle, the grandfather. Somebody traumatized you, male-wise, because I listen to what you're saying. Male-wise. And if it's the mother and you taking it out on the man, then we still know it's trauma. But 9 times out of 10, when I hear you doing it to bash a man, and then if you say all men, it's not all men. You got to look at who you allow in your life. So that goes to show me you're not looking at you, because you're saying all men. So you're not in, you're out talking side of yourself, because that's your way of dealing with that pain. So now you want to put all men in that category. And I'm talking about the men too that likes to do all women, when you know you have not been with all women. It's only the ones that you surround yourself with, the ones that came into your life, that treated you however. So my thing is, sometimes when we on panels, just be honest about you. Because if you're not being honest about you, you're really talking about you anyway, without realizing when you go all men, when you go all women, when you start saying women with children, then you talk about 304s, then you talk about this and that. Now, I'm listening, and I'm saying to myself, who in the hell hurt you? Y'all might not see it because you're not looking at yourself. You're outside of yourself. So you're not doing self-evaluation. So when Steve Copeland stepped in, and I can only talk about Steve, I can only tell y'all what I was able to do from seeing some of the issues that went on in my life, how I was able to overcome the steps that I took to become a better man today. I can only talk about Steve. Yeah, I can talk about my uncle. I can talk about my aunt. I can talk about my mother. But as a 63-year-old man who experienced a lot in life, throughout life, a lot of the prompts that people put up, I have a personal experience basically with it. I'm like, God dang. And there'd be very interesting prompts. And then people are starting to make announcements now too, that if you share from a personal experience, that there's a good chance that other people are going to come for you. Now, I'm going to share this with you. If I share from a personal level of experience, and if you let it bother you by calling yourself trying to attack me, I know you ain't dealt with those issues. So you're telling on yourself. If I'm talking about me as a cheater, and if I tell you I'm the type of person that likes to cheat, the reason why I'm saying it, because some people say, oh, you shouldn't say this, oh, you shouldn't say that. No. What I had to realize, and it's just flip it around, right? Just flip it. What I had to realize, if I didn't like cheating, I wouldn't cheat. Most men that don't like cheating don't cheat because they know it's wrong. I knew it was wrong. But I had to realize, even though it was wrong, I had to be honest with myself and flip it. If I didn't like running and sleeping with other women whenever I was hurt, I wouldn't do it. Catch the hint. So if I say I like it, that's because when I found myself hurt for whatever reason of not dealing with me, not you, me. I ran from me. I didn't run from you. Y'all always want to flip it to yourself. I ran from me to avoid whatever that was going on in here, not your ass. You the one always want to say, oh, well, he did this on me. He did that. No, I took my body and went and laid on somebody else with it. So when I sleep with you because you my mate. But when I go sleep with somebody else, I slept with them because I probably, me, and I ran. Y'all just don't listen. Listen to when a man tell you why he do things. Don't try to figure him out. I can't figure you out. I can't figure you out. If I love you for you. If I love you, I'm going to love you for you. My goal is to trust you. When I lose faith and trust in my own self, I'm going to say that again. When I lose faith and trust in my own self, I will go and try to fix myself with outside stuff. I didn't say you. See, I got to be honest with me. That's why I use my own personal experiences, because this is what NA taught me, the 12-step spiritual program. I got to be honest with me, not you. I got to be true to thyself, not you. See, y'all always want to be included. But if a person don't know themselves, how can I give you me? I'm going to give you bull crap. But as long as I know Steve, and I got to understand Steve, I'm not asking you. Steve, now I'm cheating, but I'm going to ask you, why am I cheating? You going to answer that for me? Well, maybe my poo-poo wasn't right. Or maybe I didn't do this right. No, it ain't had nothing to do with you. All of that's great. Everything you do is woo-woo. I'm the one. Whatever that was bothering me went to seek other woo-woo. That's just the way I ran. That's why y'all need to listen. You so busy trying to say, well, a man this, a man that. You're not a man. Even if you butch, you are not a man. So how can you speak for a man? Just like me telling y'all, well, you know, every month, bros, when I get my cramps, this and that. Come on. I'll be going through this for a while. And then some pads I went to get, they got all soaked up. The hell? And I be sitting back on my end right here. Oh my God. And I've been watching y'all brothers. I ain't lying. I be watching y'all coming up here, man. Oh my God. As an old man, and I be listening to some of our younger men speak. Whew. Like, where in the hell is their brains at? Where they at? Y'all be coming up here making me think y'all having y'all minstrels and stuff. And I know we do go through certain things after a certain age, right? And I know y'all ain't even 48, y'all ain't 50, y'all ain't go, look, 40, look, y'all know I'm bald head. I've been bald head for the longest time. But you know, after a certain time, a man, I say I'm 63. I am actually 63. I'm 63. I'm 63. But I'm looking at myself, right? And I'm like, boy, I can go dye this, and I'll be make sure I put my teeth in and everything. I'll be like 36 again. I'm 36. I can go out there, you know, sleeping. Come on, I can start chasing again. Start running. That's what my mind tells me. My body be like, boy, you better stop playing. So you mean to tell me I can't dye this and start hunting again? You too old for that. And you never too old, don't get it wrong. It's like, you ain't got time for this, Steve. You in granddaddy mode. Your oldest daughter's 36. Your youngest daughter's 24. They got a bunch of beautiful girlfriends. Basically, they grew up around us. They women now. 36, 24, on up. I had to tell myself, Steve, don't date no goddamn women your daughter's ages. Now, my ex-wife is 48. I'm 63. I'm 15 years older than her. So it takes me back. When I met her, she was 21. I was going on 36. So now when I look at it as an older guy, 63, right? And if I date a woman that's around 48, that's like me dating my wife again at 21. That's young. But 48 is not young. But that's young here. If I date somebody 50, that's young. Look what I'm saying, 50, 55. To me, mentally, it takes my mind back to when she was 21, when I was dating younger females like that. That's where my mind goes. That's still young. Because I'm not a child no more. I'm not that immature man like I used to be. So to be honest with y'all, my first wife, I'm 5 years older than. That would seem more reasonable today. I'll be 64 in February. February the 20th. I wasn't thinking like this when I was 24. I wasn't thinking like this when I was at 34. I wasn't thinking like this when I was 44. I wasn't thinking like this at 54. So what tends to happen, right? You can only speak for where you at. So if you're 25, if you're 30, if you're 40, you're not 50, you're not 60, or you're not 70, but you want to sit back at 25, 30, 40, and you want to act like, listen to what I'm saying, act like you're only putting on an act because you're not really mentally, emotionally, and spiritually grown in those areas. But you want to put yourself in a position at 35 years old like you know everything. At least more than somebody that then lived almost twice your age. But you know everything though, right? The way I looked at my 20s is not the same way I looked at life in my 30s. The same way I looked at my life in my 30s, I did not look at it like that in my 40s. Because once I start turning certain ages, mainly like when you get, say, 20, right? Once you turn 20, you try not to do the things that you did in your teenage years. Because you partly growing up, right? So in between your 20s and your 30s, you be responsible. You can be responsible, productive, and all that type of stuff too. But between your 20s and your 30s, once you turn 30, you get ready to turn 31, it's like you want to do something different now that you're in your 30s than you did when you was in your 20s. And not only that, once you turn 40, the things that you did in your 30s to get up to 40s, you want to be better in your 40s to your 50s. Because now you realize it, right? Life is doing this. Starts off as that babe, right? Then it's starting to do this. Then you get to 50. Then it start doing this. After a while, you turn back into that child, that baby. As you get older. So you doing this. You doing this. That's why you have a lot of elders that start having that childlike behaviors, because they reversing back. Do y'all educated people understand that? Do you very intelligent, educated, statistically, let me do study, let me do research, rather than asking somebody that's there? Statistically, this is this, that, and so see, I researched this and I researched that, and I research your egg off. But now let a person who grew up, became an adult, that's in the elder zone now, get AARP. Well, I don't get AARP. I got an AARP card. Can tell you right now, the mind ain't like it used to be. I ain't trying to figure everything out. I'm not trying to fix everything in that sense, because I am a fixer. So I don't want to confuse nobody. That's my business. That's why I had to catch myself. I am a fixer. I be trying to, but I use personal. What we call them trials and tribulations. A lot of y'all forget. You want to tell somebody how to live a certain way, and you haven't even experienced what you trying to tell them how they need to live, just to have a conversation. So if I sit back and I talk with our men, when I talk with our brothers, when I talk with our kings, when I tell y'all I'm a crybaby, when I tell y'all I'm not, now I can say emotionally unstable, right? I'm just talking about crybaby stuff like that. Because years ago, for some of you turkeys, I had no problem taking you down. So you better let me cry. You better let me whine. You better let me be in all that. Because I was one big, nasty dude. And that's the way I express myself. Today, I don't act out in those ways. Today. For a little, almost 33 years, I stopped carrying pew-pews. I stopped carrying, that, because I had no problem in doing it. So I have to know me. And if you don't know you, you'll keep doing the same things over and over and over and over, expecting different results. That's why I started the Couch Conversation Show. That's why the goal is to talk more about men's mental health, to help the man to understand it's okay. My thing is, I'd rather see you be able to learn some coping skills and some strategies in dealing with the stuff that men go through, on a personal. See, I'm not in competition with nobody today. I know who I am in here. I know who I am. By the name of Jesus, I know who I am. I don't care if you call him Yahweh. I don't care if you call him Jehovah. I don't care what you call him. I know who I am inside. My goal is to stand firm on my morals, my values, my principles, my integrity, and don't compromise them for none of y'all. Okay? Same way I had to teach my son. The same way I had to teach my daughters. Some integrity. Be who you are. If a person gonna love you, they're gonna love you for who you are. But guess what? If they don't know how to love themselves, they won't know how to give it back to you. Do y'all pay attention to that? So when you let men in your lives or women in your lives and you feel like you need to shape and mold them, you screwed up right there. If you allow people in your life and you feel like you need to fix them, shape them, mold them, because you are not the designer. You are not. But if you allow a woman in your life or you allow a man in your life and you feel like you need to fix them, mold them, shape them, you just screwed up. You know how I know that? Because I tried to do it myself. And if I'm not careful, I'll do the same with my daughters. See, y'all want to talk about boyfriend, girlfriends. I got grown daughters. So I want to teach them, which basically I did, how men supposed to treat a woman. So I had to show them the total opposite from what their father used to be in the streets. So basically I had to show them something different so they could see it for themselves. To watch out too from like no good people like their father used to be. You get me? So you can only teach them by learning, teach them from learning from the mistakes you made as a human being. And their mother taught them as well. Don't get it wrong. Their mother always been in their lives. So when I look at it now, at all my kids, I'm like, Dad, we did a great job with them. Because they living accordingly to the morals, the values, and principles that we taught them. Now they got to make mistakes in their lives and learn from their mistakes. That's all. That's all. And as a father, yes. If my daughter meets somebody, because we the type of family, we are family. Loves and take care of my daughters, or want to take care of my daughter, taking care of her. Let me watch that word. The way her mother and her father raised her to be independent. And I see he's an independent man himself. And he's a family gathering type man. Then I feel as though my daughter gonna be okay as a man, as a father. I'm telling you me. Don't compare me to no damn body you know. I'm talking about Steve Copeland. From what I expect, for the way I want to see my daughters happy in life. And I know they're gonna go through stuff, even with my son. But the goal is they got something to kind of like, judge it from. Whether you want to stay there or you need to move on. And if I see they need to move on and they stuck in certain areas, I'm going to encourage them. I'm going to empower them. I'm going to motivate them to get the freak away from you. Try me. Okay? Try me. And y'all heard me say this a lot of times. Any one of my daughters, they meet somebody and I don't approve of them, he won't be coming to dinner. And my thing is catch that, because that's basically saying he won't be invited to the cookouts and, family dinners and gatherings because you don't approve of them. If I approve of him, then I know, to me, he's a responsible type person. And it's not, don't keep getting everything mixed up with your finances. Yes, you want to, if you're making good money, you want your mate to make good money. But sometimes your mate might not make as much as you, mainly if you're a career or professional type person. But I don't want them to beat you up, beat that male up, right? If he's not a responsible, productive man. And y'all will sit back and think because he's a hustler, because he is, sooner or later, guess what? He might end up going to that big old plantation. And guess what too? When you out there hustling and you doing certain things, you putting your family life on the line too. Did y'all know that one? Because sometimes when a person can't get to you because of something you done to them, sometimes they come for your family. So you putting your family life on the line. That's why when you live in a certain way of life, you watching your back, but then still you have to watch your family back. And then you got to watch who come around them or who you allow around them. I'm not just talking to be talking when I come on here. I'm talking about a person that started out from 13 years old, 11 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old. Went into facilities talking with our youth. Do y'all know how they feel? I can't see myself, but I'm in a facility with children, maybe 10 to 15. And these are recovery facilities. For children. And I'm sitting up here trying to talk with children. Talking about babies. I'm a grown adult now who went through that, right? But I'm talking more on an adult level to children. And this is just me. When it comes to children, allow other children, grown-ups basically, younger people who might have experienced that, kind of share with them and help them understand what they did to come out of it. So if you got 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12, 15, if you got them that young, then you got somebody like myself that's more seasoned, more spiritual. And I'm trying to talk to you in a certain way. And it's not to say they're not listening, but it just didn't feel right to me. Because I felt like I was talking over their heads compared to talking with adults. Because sometimes you even talk over adults' heads who don't understand the process of recovery. Even when I'm sitting into some meetings today, right, and they might come in with a van full of, I'm going to say youth, maybe up to about, maybe 20 years old. And I'm looking back at my life, right? And if you tried to talk a certain thing to me, I couldn't relate because I wasn't there. And they bring them because they have to, just to hear the message of hope. So sometimes when I go on certain platforms and it's a bunch of younger people there, I feel out of place. Because I'm sitting here listening to y'all talking about certain things in life that you just starting to get into. And it's people like myself that transition from all of that. And it's like I'm on the other side. And just before I came on here, I was on certified platform. And a lady came up that was 62 years old. And y'all know everything she said out of her mouth was so plain and clear. And one young guy disrespected her. And she came back. Number one, he said something about her being white. I heard wisdom. I heard knowledge. I heard experience. This boy her color because he seen her picture. And that's y'all biggest problem. I heard season. She have a 35-year-old son, I think she said. I have a 36-year-old daughter. And one thing they know and understand, you never disrespect adults, elderly. And that was brought to this guy's attention. That could have been your mother talking. Would you disrespect your mother like that? Hey family, I'm gonna get ready to end my restream because my battery running low on this.